Hi, my name is Rob. I do a space on Twitter every once in a while about suppressors, and a lot of guys ask me questions in those spaces, and they were kind of wanting some place they could find that information regularly without having to cover the same thing, every other Friday occasionally when we do those. These are going to be introductory series to suppressors, suppressor 101s. Very, very basic stuff for beginners. So if you're making your first purchase or things like that. And for this short one, we're just going to talk about the adapters for the back. So to just stick to this subject, your mount for your suppressor can be done several different ways. You can have direct thread. You can have your cat show up. You can have quick detach. You can have threaded to the mount. And then you can have what has now become what's called universal thread. This is becoming pretty much an industry standard of 1.375 by 24 thread. That originally came on the Silencer Co. Omega. The two main threads were basically, Silencer Co. was one of the earliest silencer companies that really went mainstream, and there was the Omega and the Saker, I think. And they had, threaded on, adapters for quick detach muzzle devices, things like that. And those two became kind of the two standards. And of the two, the Omega was the more popular, and its thread pitch of 1.375 by 24 has pretty much become the industry standard. I really see this becoming what every suppressor maker uses, if they are not using a welded on type of adapter where you're, proprietarily committed to that adapter and that way of connecting it. So a direct thread is where literally you just have threads in the back of the suppressor and it just threads on. You can either thread it directly onto the barrel or you can thread it directly onto a muzzle device. This one here threads directly onto the muzzle device. It's basically direct thread. The other way you can have it done is where you thread it directly onto the barrel. There's no muzzle device on the end of the gun at all. You thread the suppressor onto the end of the rifle and it stays on there. It never comes off. This is pretty much close to that. If you're not doing direct thread, this is near as close to direct thread as you can get, where you have threads on the back. It threads right onto a kind of muzzle device. And it just goes on and pretty much stays on your gun all the time. If you want to take it on and off your gun from gun to gun to gun, this is the easiest way to do it, and the simplest way to do it. It's going to have the least amount of distance, at least as far as adding length to your suppressor, adding more length to the end of your gun. It's the simplest. One of the more common ones is the dead air chemo system. This is a ratchet type system. It's proprietary to dead air. You put it on with this indication mark and you slide it on the suppressor, it cranks down and it locks on. There are advantages to both direct thread and having a quick detach. Direct thread is simpler. There's very rarely an alignment issue with the can aligning with the barrel. So you tend to decrease the risk of baffle strikes. You tend to have no alignment issues. I would still probably rod your barrel and everything every time you took it on and off. But this is pretty much a setup for somebody who is not going to take their can off regularly. It's just going to kind of go on the gun and stay on the gun. This is a welded on type of quick detach device. And it doesn't come off. This will not be able to come off this particular can. It is permanently attached to it. There is no, adopting this to another type of muzzle device or quick detach system. This is probably what most people would want to go with if you have one can or if you're getting new into cans, is where you have the flexibility. So you can see here there are threads on the back of the suppressor. And these threads are, again, 1.375 by 24. You want to make sure you get that because, like I said, there are two kind of universal threads, the Omega and the Saker. And the Omega is really becoming the industry standard of 1.375 by 24. With that, you get options. You have all kinds of different things that you can put on the back. You can have your quick detach system. You can have what here is the Q Plan B, which would attach to a cherry bomb device at the end of your barrel, which is as close to direct thread as you can really get without really going direct thread right onto your barrel. This is, I would call, pretty much the equivalent of direct thread. There's lots of advantages to this, and there's lots of advantages to this. If you're going to put if you have a suppressor and you're going to put it on your gun and leave it on your gun, and it's just going to be always on there, and you're really only going to take it off to clean the gun or clean the suppressor, this is what I would go with. You're going to have less different types of metal heating up and shrinking and expanding, throwing your point of impact off as the gun gets warm or hot. You're going to have simplicity in that you're going to have less things that could go wrong. You know, there's a spring in here, there's a ratcheting type of device that can all fail when you take it on and off. You know, you might have to, you know, repair it. This can come apart where you fix little springs in there and stuff. There are no springs. There is no real mechanical device. It is simply you thread it on, then this threads onto the barrel, and you're good to go. It is as simple as you can get, other than, like I said, directly threading the suppressor right onto the barrel, and you're out the door. This is what I would recommend to new buyers, where you have that flexibility, because, you know, with this system here, I can do multiple things. I can take this chemo adapter and put it on this suppressor, and I can run it on any of my guns that have the dead air devices on the end of them. I can put the Q Cherry Bomb and Q Plan B together, and I can have this running on the back of the suppressor, and I can put this suppressor on that host. It gives you a lot more flexibility. So I hope that kind of answers a few questions of, you know, the back end of your suppressor. And that's really all I'm going to discuss on this one, is just that part of it, is just the back end. If you're looking at suppressors and you're looking at your different options, you know, how do you attach the suppressor to the gun? That's going to be a question you're going to ask yourself when you're getting new into this, is how do you want to be able to take it on and off? Do you want to put it on permanently and just leave it on? Are you going to have that suppressor for that one gun and that's it? That is the things you want to be asking yourself, is what is your plan? What is your sort of setup for that particular weapon system? If you're planning on buying a suppressor that you want to move from gun to gun to gun to gun to gun, I would really highly recommend going with something that you can put different adapters on the back of. It gives you more flexibility. Again, these are $200 just for the tax stamp, and then you got to buy the suppressor, and then you got to wait a year for it. This is going to give you the most flexibility of being able to go from different weapons platforms to different weapon platforms, with being able to change the back end of the actual can. Keep it simple and have some flexibility at the same time.